All right, so the way these are designed, they have various topics. Translating word problems is 2 parts of it, solving linear equations, 2 parts. Interpreting linear equations, that's a big one. Linear inequalities and absolute value, that's more conceptual. Solving linear systems can be conceptual as well as somewhat abstract. Graphs of lines, you guys should be familiar with that. So we're gonna do at least 1 problem for each topic and then give you guys a chance to do some practice. Where we don't finish is homework. And I did ask you guys to finish some work from last time. I'll try to get to that sometime during class. If you have any questions from last time, we could address that as well. So yeah, let's get started. Translating word problems. So we're on page 333. The page numbers you find in the lower left or lower right corner of each page. So this is called translating. What this means is that you have to take the words and translate them to a mathematical statement. So as we know, mathematical operations and symbols are kind of like a language. And so how do we understand that language? So let's look at this here. And I'll maximize this a bit more. Okay. So, and everyone can see just fine? We're good? Cool. So a company rents bulldozer, charges a base rate of $900 a week per bulldozer, an additional $21.50 for every 10 miles the customer drives a bulldozer. Which of the following expressions gives the customer's total charges for renting a bulldozer for 1 week and driving it 10 G miles? Okay, so it's kind of weird, like 10 G miles. Why would they do that? It's okay. Let G equal something. Let's say G is 5. 0 to 50 miles. Seems reasonable, right? Now, you do it for 1 week. So what do you have to charge? What are you going to be charged for the base rate? $900, right? Yeah. So definitely $900 for sure. You got to be charged because that's 1 week. So that's taken care of. Okay. Then this is kind of cool thing. I can change colors, right? $21.50 for every 10 miles. Well, if G is 5, how many miles am I driving this bulldozer? If I do it for 10 G miles, 50 miles, right? But to say that for every 10 miles, you charge $21.50. So you're gonna do 21.5 times 5. Because for every 10 miles, you charge $21.50. So if you do it for 50 miles, then I gotta multiply 21.5 by 5. Or I can put this in parentheses to make it a little easier. Okay. Well, if I look at the choices, I definitely need to add 900s. So I don't like C because that's 900G. I don't like D because I don't see a plus 900. That's plus 910. That's kind of weird. I'm feeling A. I'm feeling A because it's giving me the 900 for the base rate, and it's in 21.5 times G. And again, why am I doing it times G? Because it says every 10 miles, and you drive for 10 G miles. So it's almost like the 10s kind of knock each other out a little bit. But if you plug in a number, make it more tangible. Hey, I'm driving for 50 miles, 250 for every 10 miles. So from mile 0 to mile 10, 250. Up to mile 20, 250. Mile 30, 250. Mile 40, 250. Mile 50, 250. Do 255 times. So let's try a couple more and maybe have you guys try one for practice. And by the way, these do have the answers for the example problems. The ones that are further along, and they do these little drills. I'll revisit these drills with you guys once I assess you sometime in July. And again, for those who are just joining us, we are going to do another assessment in July, probably near the middle or end of July. And if I kind of see like there's certain topics that are still holding you up, all these extra little things like these little drills here, it might be good to revisit at that time. But for now, I just wanted to give you guys practice with the SAT style problems for these topics. So if we go to page 337, every topic will have 4 practice problems dedicated to that topic. So you can see here there are 4 problems, and all of them are labeled as no calculator. So if it says no calculator, it means you can't use a calculator. Remember, the math section is broken into 2 sections. Calculator, which is 25 minutes, 20 questions, 55 minutes, 38 questions with a calculator. Let's just do maybe, I don't know, 1 and 4, we'll say. Let's look at 1 and 4. We'll start with number 1. Okay, so Dave has built model airplanes for 3 years longer, or sorry, 3 years more than twice as long as Ted. So here, how am I going to translate it? Let's say D is Dave. D is the number of years that Dave spends building airplanes. T is the number of years that Ted I spent building airplanes. How do I make an equation with that first sentence? Dave has built 3 years more than twice as long as Ted. So I can say D equals, right? Because Dave has is like equals. What? What would it equal? What do you guys think? 3 years more. So how would I write that? 3 plus twice as 10, or 2t, whatever, yeah, or x, I don't care. Okay, now what does the question really want? If Ted is built for S years, okay, so let's replace that with S. So be it. Then what do we have for Dave? Well, it's 2S plus 3. There you go. So I just translated it. You could, if you want, you can plug in a number for S. You can say maybe Ted has built airplanes for 10 years. So that would be 3 plus 2 times 10, which would be 23. You can do that too. But I think this is pretty easy. The other thing you need to be mindful about when you do the SAT, the first 5 questions are sort of going to be pretty straightforward. It should not be totally cryptic. Do not overanalyze it. This would be one of those first 5 questions. If it's something a little bit closer to the end of a math section, it is going to be a bit more cryptic. So if you are getting the answer a little too quickly, you might want to just look at it one more time. So you may have oversimplified it perhaps, because they do sometimes, or you may have like just misconceived what they want you to do, because that could happen. Remember, this is a standardized test, and they do incorporate some abstract stuff here. Let's look at 4. 4 is where it gets a little bit more abstract. Bill's cell phone plan includes a certain number of free text messages each month. Great, okay. No one does that anymore. It's unlimited now, but 15 years ago, actually, you're limited with your text messages because this data just wasn't as easy to transfer these, 15 years ago. The equation represents the number of text messages that is remaining D days into the month. So what it means that if D is 0, so the month had just started, right? So it's like July 1st, month just started, he gets 350 text messages. Every time D goes up by a number, he loses a certain amount of text messages. Like say for example, let's say D is 2, right? Just being hypothetical. If D is 2, what does this equation tell me? This equation tells me that he has 350 minus 70 text messages left, or 280 text messages left. That's what this equation tells me, how many text messages he has left, depending on how many days we're into the month. So if we're 2 days into the month, then he only has 280 left in his plan. Okay. So what does the 35 represent then? What do you guys think? He'll use up all his text after 35 days. Because if you plug in 35 for D, that's going to be negative. Number 10, it's going to be 350 minus 35 times 35. And I can tell you for a fact that 35 times 35 is much bigger than 350. It's almost 1,000. So I don't think it's going to be use of all his text. Actually, probably, when do you think he would use up all his text? On what day will he have no more text messages left? 10 days, exactly, right? Because if you plug in 0 for T, so I know A, that makes no sense. He starts with 35 texts each month. How many texts does he start with each month? 350, yeah, exactly. That's like the y-intercept, right? You guys know this, right? Y equals mx plus b. This is going to be the resounding theme this evening / afternoon that we're meeting tonight. Y equals mx plus b. What is m? Slope. What is b? The y-intercept. This is a concept you guys have learned pre-pandemic. And they really beat this into this exam. So the 350 is like the y-intercept. So I don't think that makes any sense because he starts at 350, not 35. So it's really down to C or D. Which one do you guys think it would be? It would be D, totally. Yep. 35 per day. He gets the 35 represents a slope. Because think about it. If you have y equals mx plus b, or t equals negative 35d plus 350. Notice I overlaid it in this fashion. Where you see, okay, the m is like negative 35. The b is like 350. That's a slope. What is slope? Rise or run. Change in y over change in x. What's my y value? Text messages. What's my x value? Number of days. So with negative 35 text messages per day. That's why it's D. So I'm really going to make you guys think about linear functions this way. And to be honest with you, I don't think we really did that very well because it's hard to really give you guys that constant concept, or was with the constant perspective about the slope over a 4-week period. You really need to kind of think about it throughout a whole school year. So so it's good we're doing it now, because you are going to get more. We're meeting every week, and we're meeting regularly, so you guys will get that that frequency of like learning these concepts. So let's keep moving. The next one's kind of the same thing. What I'll do is I'll do one example, then I'll have you guys try a couple on your own. So we'll move on to translating word problems part 2. They do sort of 2 parts. Why do they do 2 parts? Because it's a pretty important topic. So here we're going to translate again. This one's a little more cut and dry. It's kind of a very bland problem. Like, hey, here's some stuff, write me an equation. So how would I write this equation? 14 plus 6x, let's go red, red shows it better. 14 plus 6x means equals what? There we go, 11 plus 33. I know you guys can solve that. This is I was actually watching the US Open over the weekend. It's like a 2-foot putt. It's like super easy, like just tap it in. 6x equals 30, x equals 5. Am I good, or did I make a mistake? Really, Scott? You want 2x. I deliberately circled it wrong to mess with you guys a little bit. It's not 5. So you gotta be careful, because we're tempted psychologically. They have psychologists who write these tests. They're actually called, I think, psychometricians, where they actually use metrics to kind of like, they do think about the psychology of students and how to, they can measure quantitative skills in students. And they will sometimes think, oh, someone will think they have the answer when you really don't. So they do trick you, because they actually have people who design a test in this way. So be mindful that they want 2x, not x. All right, so now I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of chance to try some problems. Again, they have explanations here. They have some sample drills, but we're just going to go straight to the problems here. Let's do 2 is brutal. I'm not going to do 2 with you guys just now. Let's just do 1 and 3. How about that? 1 and 3. One is no calculator. 3, feel free to use a calculator. To be honest with you, the calculator is really more of a safety net. Like maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 problems at tops, you would need a calculator in the calculator portion of the SAT, but it's rare. And ask me a question. I'll give you guys about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. If you want to verify that you have the correct answer, let me know. And I do share the answers of these, by the way, at the end of class. So everyone will get the answers. But just go and try 1 and 3. I think I'll probably do 2 with you guys as a class after 4 minutes for now. Because 2 is kind of 2 is really nasty. Okay. For number 1, he starts on $166, right? And then he's losing money because he's spending money on stuff, right? So definitely it's going to be not, so definitely it won't be A, because you got to start with 166. And then how much money did he really spend? Let's say he spends 30, he buys at least 30 pounds at 350. So you got to do that. And N is how much money is left. So you could say equals N if you spend exactly, bought exactly 30 pounds. However, this is the part that's a little tricky, but we know it's going to be B or C, so you can always make a guess. It says that at least, right? That's the part that's a little tricky, at least. So you could have spent more money, right? Or could have bought more pounds. Like maybe you could have bought 40 pounds of kangaroo food, right? So the thing is that we know for a fact that it can't be more than this number. So N's going to have to be less than that number. Because if you were to increase it, right, that's the highest N could be. It can't be more than that. Because if you did this, then you're saying that Carl could have had much more money than whatever this difference is. He has to be under that difference. That's why it ends less than that. So sometimes it takes a little bit of logic, or maybe just think of hypothetical scenarios. Oops, sorry, I meant to do C. My bad. My bad. Meant to do C. My apologies. Sorry, meant to do C. Okay. Let's do 3. Okay, $8.99 for membership, unlimited access to machines, and you got to pay an additional $1.25 for the use of the pool. Okay. If one's member bill was $13.99, how many hours do you spend at the pool? So $8.99, you got to pay for sure, plus 1.25x equals 13.99. X represents the number of hours you spend at the pool. If you work out, you should get 4 hours at the pool. If I translated that, right? That's why I translate. I made an equation, solve for x. 1.25x will equal 5. Divide by 1.25. You should get 4. But you just translate it. Okay. And by the way, you should average about a minute or so per question, maybe 2 minutes, but not really more than that. If you have a question, go ahead. Yeah, totally. Yep. Not necessarily. You can use your calculator for 3. Totally. All right, let me do 2 with you guys, and then 4, I'll just forego. You guys do 4 on your own. But let me talk about 2, because 2 is a really wacky one. And this is a great strategy to use. So the owners of a restaurant are paying for boxes of flyers, and that's a great up and fine. Each box has that flyers. Each employee passes out Y flyers per day. How many boxes of flyers do the owners need to supply enough? Sorry, how many boxes of flyers do the owners need to supply enough flyers for 5 F employees to pass out over 7 days? It's a lot of moving parts because you have a box, you have number of flyers in the box, you got all these employees, you got to do it for 7 days. It's a lot going on there. So let's just take a deep breath and say, and this would be number 15 out of 15. This would be a hard question for sure, but it's doable. It's totally doable. What you say is that each box, say, has 100 flyers. Okay, 100 flyers. So that means F is 100. I made that up. You can make it whatever you want. If you wanted to have 77 flyers or 85 flyers, go ahead. Why would you do that? I don't know. Make it simple for yourself. 100 flyers. And let's say each employee does 200 flyers per day. Each employee does 200 flyers per day. Okay. So if that's true, we need 2 boxes. for each employee, right? So if I give a box to an employee, he passes them and says, hey, I need more. Okay, here's another box. Okay, now I'm done for the day. We just have 2 boxes. Here's your 2 boxes, go. He does 200 flyers in that day. Great. But we're doing this for 5F employees for 7 days. Let's say you got quite the operation. Let's say you got yourself 50 employees. I'll make F10. So you got 50 employees and you're doing this for 7 days. If I have 50 employees outside waiting for me, okay, I give you 2 boxes. I give you 2 boxes. I give you 2 boxes. I need 100 boxes for 1 day. So 50 employees times 2 boxes. So 50 employees times 2 boxes for 7 days. If you work it out, I think they probably will let you use a calculator for this one, but it'll be 700 boxes I need. Okay, I need 7 boxes. Now, let's look at the choices. I kind of like, actually, no, I can't do, wait, is that right? 50 times 2. Hold on a sec. Five, 10, 7, 2 boxes, 100, 700, yeah. So, wait, why am I losing my mind here? Hold on, 1 sec. 14. I know the answer is D, but D is not working out right now. I'm trying to see why I did wrong. Exactly about the 7,000. Hold on a sec. I've done this probably many times. I don't know why I'm struggling here. 50 employees. How many box flyers do they drive? 5 flyers per day. Each box. Flyers for 7 days. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong because it should come out to being D. And it's kind of driving me nuts. Hold on a sec. Each box is 100 flyers. Each employee passes out 200 flyers per day, so you need 2 boxes. 5F employees. Let me pull up the answer key. Because I thought for certain this was D. Hold on a sec. Thank you. Huh. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. So I know the answer is D. So 50 employees, 350. Yeah. 5F employees. Okay, I don't know what I am doing wrong here, but I'll have to revisit this problem because it's driving me a little bit nuts here. Each employee passed that 200 flyers because he. Okay, well, what you're supposed to do is supposed to check the choices and match it up, but I don't know why I'm not. Yeah, 50 times 2 is 100. 100 times 7. Oh boy. Okay. Well, anyway, let's keep moving. We can start this all day. Let's move on to solving linear equations. So on page 343, you guys should be pretty comfortable just solving linear equations. No, you don't like them? No? Okay. Well, if you have fractions, what you could do to help you, so you don't get too apprehensive about it, is find the least common denominator for all fractions. So you have 3, 5, and 15. What number can 3, 5, 15 all go into? 15, right? Oh, okay. So you're gonna multiply everything by 15. So you get 5x plus 20x equals 3 plus 6, I think. 25x equals 9. X is 9 over 25. So that's all. And you would just like grid it like this, 9/25. Or you could put as a decimal too, if you want to, but that's a little harder as a decimal, so without a calculator. So that should be fairly straightforward, hopefully. Any questions so far? Nope. All right. So let's move on to some problems you guys can practice. Do make sure you're comfortable with order of operations. So let's do just 1 and 3. Oh, 1 and 3. We are on page 348. Meanwhile, I'm going to figure out what the heck I did wrong with the other problem, because now it's driving me crazy. So guys, 2, 1, 3, go fast, like 2 minutes on it. Oh, I know I did wrong through the problem. Okay. I know I did wrong. We'll talk about it. I'll let you guys finish. I know I did wrong. Well, a little boneheaded mistake on my part. I see it now. So hopefully 1 is pretty straightforward. Remember, A is 8. They just want X. Always be sure what they want. So once you get A, then I'll go over 3 in just a little bit. Okay. So you have 4 cups of oats. So it's going to be 6 plus 1/2, 6.5. There you go. Okay. So let's see. All right. Questions about those two? All right, I know what I did wrong with the other problem. I knew when I looked at it another time, it would come back to me. So the mistake I made, it's good. I'm actually glad I made this mistake because I'm sure my students would make that same mistake sometimes. The number of employees, I let this be 10, but I let F earlier be 100. So those are the same. That was my fault. So actually I have 500 employees. So that means I need 1,000 boxes for them for 7 days. So I need 7,000. So then D would work. So I knew that was the answer. Yeah, so anyway, that was my fault. The variable for 5F employees had to use that same one that I did earlier from the number of flyers that is in a box. So. Yeah, I just messed up when I defined, yeah, because all of a sudden I made F with 2 different values, or equal 2 different values. So anyway, all right, let's keep moving. Solving linear equations, part 2. If you see fractions, I would strongly suggest that you cross multiply. You see fraction on each side, so I would do 27m equals 35, right? Move the 9 to over here, move the 7 over here. So 9 times 3m, 7 times 5. The m obviously is being multiplied through 7, so the m, actually if I redo the fraction, it's really like saying this. Really think about it, it's just like saying that. Oh, sorry, we're on page 349. Yeah. So we're on the next topic, part 2. So yeah, so again, you could cross multiply. (27m) equals 35. And of course, m is 35 over 27. Again, this is something I would consider like just a, real easy problem, like a, just like an easy layup in basketball, or I don't know, or catching a short pass from a quarterback. Just using sports analogies. Let's try some more problems. Okay. Let's try these two here, just 2 and 4, really quick. So for number 2, you're going to solve for x. We're on page 350 something, 352. So for number 2, just solve for x, plug it into 2x plus 5. And then number 4, you're really just solving for c. It's not going to be that. Don't make it seem more challenging than it should be. But yeah, we're on page 352. Just trying these 2 problems really fast. Then we'll move on to the next topic. And I think we'll do a break in about 10 minutes from now. So you should get C straight up for 2. For the other one, so at the very least, C is going to be 5/3. It can't be more than 5. Sorry, it can't be less than 5/3. And so when you see the least possible value, don't worry about that. Just plug in 5/3. 3's will cancel. 5 minus 2 is 3. Right. That's all. So, again, don't overthink it. All right. Questions? No? All right, let's keep moving. This is a big one, interpreting linear equations. Okay, so I'm going to spend a little more time here. Now, very important, y equals mx plus b. So m is going to equal 12, and b is going to equal 25. Remember, m is your slope. Oh, sorry. And b is y-intercept. Now, in the context is really the essence of these kind of problems. Alfred made initial deposit to a bank account. Each month thereafter, he deposited a fixed amount to the account. The equation above models the amount D dollars. So D is Y, right? That's the amount of money you got in your account. T apparently is the number of deposits they do each month. The number of monthly deposits you do. So if T is 4, then you deposit over 4 months. T is just time, just number of months. Think of it that way. T is just time in months. Make it easy. So how many dollars did he have as initial deposit? They're asking for the initial deposit. They're asking for how much money he started with. They're asking for the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept here? 25. He started 25 bucks. That's it. That's all. So don't overthink it. What does 12 represent? 12 is the slope. What is slope? Slope is the change in y or change in x, or the change in d over the change in t, or the change in money per month. How much extra money you get per month? You get $12 per month. So that's what 12 represents. 12 represents the slope, right? The amount of money per month. So that's how you interpret it. Not that hard. Just you need practice, right? You need to just see this over and over again. And so if I notice, like when you do an assessment down the road, like, oh, okay, you're still having trouble with this, we'll come back and revisit this, and do some extra practice. So I'm just going to skip down to page, and there's lots of drills here, but let's go to page 359. Okay. I guess we'll just do, we'll just do 1 and 3. Let's do 1 and 3. Again, I'll give you guys just a couple minutes. Try 1 and 3. Read it carefully. 3, you have to think a little bit outside the box. You're gonna have to extend yourself a little bit. I think 1 should be pretty straightforward. And if you guys forgot, slope. Right? Right? Change y, change an x. It doesn't matter what order you do it in, but if you do it in one particular order, like if you're going to subtract 0 minus b, you better do that nicely. Do not mix up the order. So it's up to you how you subtract them, but you got to be consistent in the manner what you do. 3, I'm not going to really give you a hint. I want to just see if you guys can think that one through. Okay, I'll give you guys a couple minutes. What was that? Just 1 through, yeah. Okay, for number one, you should be getting this. P minus 0 over 0 minus n, which is P over negative n. Or you could have done 0 minus P over n minus 0. Either way, you still get negative P over n. So it's going to be C. C, yeah. C, yeah. So yes, you can reverse the order, but it's still the same thing. Now for 3, what's the y-intercept here for 3? 0, 6, right? So you're going to use that. You're going to use 0, 6. So that's how you have to think a little bit outside the box. And then m comma n, because they told you that, right? And they want the slope. So guess what? You're just going to subtract the y's and subtract the x's. That's what you do. Again, the order in which you do it, if you do, the first, n minus 6 or 6 minus n, I don't care. Just be consistent. So let's say I do 6 minus n, then I better do 0 minus m. So 6 minus n, sorry, over negative m. So D is not going to work because I need a negative m there. So it looks like they reversed it. So in this case, I'm then going to I'll do it the other way around. N minus 6. That's a bad color. Let's go dark green. N minus 6 over m minus 0. So that's another way you can look at it too. That's why it's going to be B as in boy. Yeah. Okay. Just kind of looking ahead, as I knew we would probably take a break, so we won't get to all this before the break. So when we come back from the break, we'll do the last 3 topics. Solving linear systems is a big one. Well, conceptually, linear inequalities, absolute value, graphs, lines. We'll go over that. So let's start up again at 5:20. Feel free to run around, check your phones, whatever you gotta do. When we do that, then we'll do some grammar practice after that, and we'll be done by 4:06 today. So let's take a 10 minutes.